Hey guys, Stock Saturday and very rough week out there. Sure a lot of you have felt the same. So we got a 0.75% rate rise from the Fed and 0.25% from the Bank of England because we're not really prepared to deal with the inflation, it seems. And the Fed sort of indicated that they could be doing 0.5% or 0.75% next month, end of next month. So, yeah, markets have not liked that. Strangely, they went up on the day and then sort of dropped fairly hard the day after. So, a little bit odd. Most of this has gone down a fair bit. Argo, admittedly, sort of more of the drop. That's down about 3,000, sort of 25% or so. So that's not been particularly good. Bitcoin sort of dropping off a cliff at the moment, but still not as bad a drop as we've had in previous bear markets. So yeah, the total portfolio is down about 8%, about 17,000. So that's been one of the bigger drops that I've had. Probably the biggest drop I would have thought since I started. So yeah, we'll see what happens. The Atalaya mining switch has been going quite good though. 3% down, where I think Freeport McMoran, from the looks of it, is about 20% down since I made the switch. So whether it's just a low liquidity stock or people aren't sort of willing to sell it off, I thought that was interesting. So just looking at Trading212, we've got a fair bit of a drop. It's not quite as bad as it looks. I do have a little cash pile. I did deploy my cash I was sitting on a little bit of cash, and I thought, why not have it work a little bit? I bought a 3x short NASDAQ ETF. So kind of think either this goes down, or either if this goes down, then the rest of my portfolio pretty much will be presumably doing reasonably well, with the NASDAQ sort of as a proxy for the market at the moment, or sort of the rest of the market continues to sell off, and yeah, I'll make a little bit out of this, which was just sitting as a cash position, about sort of £1,700, and yeah, it's done quite well this week with the sell-off, so cash position's up £100. So I thought, take a little bit of a gamble, not as if I'm sort of short in the market in any great amount. And the other change, I didn't really think I would be doing this, but sold off Realty Income. Kind of thought it's been holding up pretty well, and sort of a forward price to funds from operations, sort of your equivalent of price to earnings, of still about 16, considering sort of properties that they own. I thought was a little bit premium, really. I'm still not all that bullish on their sort of properties compared to things like Stag and Digital Realty. Realty Income have sort of AMC theatres and sort of fitness gyms and that sort of thing. So yeah, I think I sort of prefer the more industrial side and the specialist side. So sold off Realty Income, and I actually sold off, made a few changes to the ArcPi. Sort of looking through some of those, and I was aware that I haven't been doing the updates or sort of rebalancing it or anything. So some of these were up, some of them were sort of down 80% or more, but they're no longer in the ArcPi, the actual ARK Invest Genomics ETF. So that was the whole reason for investing in it. So if Kathy doesn't believe in them anymore, then I thought I'll take them out. But I haven't bought the new ones that she's bought with it. I've just left it. So yeah, there was a few £100 sort of came out of that. It is something I would be looking to sort of reinvest in, whatever she's changed it to later on. Could be putting sort of a few thousand in that down the line, but it's going to be a little way away. And it's all pending because I've put a pending order in for the whole lot of it to go into Sylvania Platinum. Still just think this is sort of a relatively stable place to put the cash. Massive cash position they've got. Very low valuation. They're doing a hell of a lot of buybacks as well. So 270 million shares, I think, in total. And they've bought back 1 million shares in the last 2 days. So incredible amount of sort of, obviously not a huge percentage of the total shares, but to do it in 2 days. And they've been doing sort of 100 to 200,000 shares quite often. Been sort of doing daily buybacks. So yeah, probably fairly big special dividends coming later in the year. And I'm still bullish on the metals. So admittedly a very small penny stock, but I've going to end up with sort of £10,000 in this. So we'll see how that goes. And yeah, looking at the invest side, this sort of seen the biggest drop. So about £8,000. I've not really made any buys or sells. Still thinking I will withdraw the dividend amount and probably put that into crypto. So yeah, still not sold Bank of Nova Scotia or Bristol Myers Squibb. Sort of getting a little bit of rabbit in the headlights a little when everything's going down, and sort of couldn't really think what exactly to put it in. Still expecting sort of further downturn. So yeah, I've kept hold of them for now. They could go next week. I could consider just selling them and having a little cash position, sort of waiting for maybe one last drop and maybe deploy that. But I'll have a think about that. Leave your thoughts below if you have any opinion on what to do with them. Certainly held up well compared to everything else. Everything else is sort of pretty much down 5%, give or take. The miners have done a little bit worse. Copper sort of has taken a bit of a drop recently. So Glencore not done particularly well. Himax had a fairly rough week. There is still $1.25 of dividend sort of probably getting baked into this. So end of the month, I would expect a very large drop. Could be sort of 15% with that dividend gone. And I would possibly be looking to buy after that. Don't really want to buy now and sort of get that dividend because it'll just get taxed. So yeah, that'll be a buy later on. Intel, sort of semiconductors, taking a bit of a hit, same as everything else. Some of them are down a little bit more. I probably will, when I sell off Bristol Myers and Bank of Nova Scotia, I think probably sell off this Japan ETF. Sort of, again, held up sort of reasonably well. The index is still at a sort of forward PE of about 13. I'm not particularly bullish on Japan. In general, it's okay, but sort of the ETF is pretty heavy. SoftBank and Toyota and that sort of thing, not really stocks that I'm particularly keen on. So I think I'll probably for now just go individual shares pretty much. Apart from the emerging markets ETF, still very happy with that. Yeah, some of them have seen big drops. Lennar down 13% odd. So wondering whether we're starting to get fears over the housing market. They're still not adjusting their forward earnings very much, come down ever so slightly, but sort of puts this at a forward PE of about 4 still. So I wonder if everyone's just burying their head in the sand and suddenly these earnings estimates are going to get 25% knocked off them or something. But yeah, interesting. Micron 11% down, again similar, sort of earnings estimates really good, but sort of people think we could be getting into a glut of supply, sort of maybe not soon, but in the next year or two. They're all sort of building tremendous amounts of new fabs. So yeah, with that and sort of recession, potential recession, there's concerns over prices. But again, I would be looking to put into Micron because I just see long term as semiconductors the way I want to go. Yeah, Meta dropped. Not something I'm diving right into at the moment. Nintendo sort of really hasn't moved all that much, 3% down, but 5% down in the month. And I hate to say it, I am considering selling this off as well. Sort of one of my highest conviction companies, really. But yeah, sort of expecting declining revenue for this year compared to last year, and potentially even down next year on this year. So don't think there's any sort of great good news that's going to come out from them, other than maybe a sort of Switch Pro, which is a little bit of a long shot considering they updated it this year, or sort of early this year, late last year, can't remember now, the OLED Switch. So yeah, would hate to, but sort of at a forward 15 PE with sort of declining fundamentals, even if we know they are declining, then yeah, that seems a little premium at the moment. What else have we got? Yeah, Rio, basically the same as Glencore, down fairly heavy. Even though iron ore sort of not down really, bit of a surprise. Process actually sort of done okay. 10 cents sort of been a little bit up and down. Samsung done slightly better. Obviously, that's not all semiconductors. They have a very diverse business. Shell taken quite a hit, 13%. I think this is recession fears on oil and natural gas. Gas down a little bit, but oil down a fair bit in the last week. All of a sudden, sort of in the last couple of days, really. So maybe should have took a little profit on that. That was over £8,000 as a position, but there you go. And yeah, the other one sort of being the USA small cap on the sell list, although it has dropped 8%. This was sort of holding up reasonably well, being in value stocks, but has dropped a little. I expect that is partly oil and yeah, bits and pieces. Small caps often go down. So yeah, I'm thinking still, even though it's dropped, I might just take profit on that as well, and sort of that'll leave me with probably about £12,000 to be sort of averaging down on some of my more higher conviction stocks. Stellantis, yeah, 5% down, not too bad. Could be considering adding to that. TSMC as well, 4% down. Fundamentals look really, really good. So could be sort of taking some of these other profit on other stocks. Tyson Foods even maybe down 1%, still doing reasonably well. Sort of 10% down on the month, but yeah, has held up well. Forward PE of about 10. Wondering whether this is sort of held up reasonably well. I don't think it's going to be going sort of much above 10, 12, even in the good times. So considering sort of maybe adding this to the sell pile. Yeah, and then sort of Vale, the actually the worst of the miners, surprisingly. Volkswagen, sort of still a little bit unsure whether to add to this. I do like just Stellantis's safety on the sort of the balance sheet, net cash. I do like Volkswagen, but yeah, the sort of gigantic debt pile does concern me a little. Not sure whether I would add to it. So yeah, at some point I am going to be sort of selling off probably sort of £12,000 to £15,000 worth of this portfolio, and sort of averaging down on a number of things, really. Potentially the miners, potentially Lennar and the UK house builders, semiconductors, and then maybe Stellantis and Volkswagen. So could happen this week, maybe not. but we'll see. So leave your thoughts in comments below, and like and subscribe. See you soon.